7:30, I'd like to call to order the December 10th meeting of the Common Council. If you'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, if you'll please read the special announcement and call the roll.
December 10, 2019. Please be advised this meeting is being taped for audio and video broadcast. The meeting will also be closed captioned. It's important that everyone speak clearly into the microphones and only one person speak at a time. Assisted listening devices are available. Mr. Burnett.
Present.
Austin.
Here.
Mr. Langella.
Here.
Mr. Sachinelli.
Present.
Ms. Smith. Here. Mr. Hewellman.
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Present.
Mr. Dumas.
Present.
Ms. Young.
Here.
Mr. Kites.
Here.
Mr. Theodorides.
Here.
Mr. Keegan.
Here.
Mr. Sirenides.
Here.
Mr. Livingston.
Here.
Ms. Shanahan.
Here.
15 present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the special meeting, acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting, November 19, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Shanahan. Any additions, deletions, errors, omissions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, the acceptance of the minutes of the meeting of November 26, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Shanahan moves. Any omissions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Mr. Livingston abstains. I believe that's the only one, and the rest are unanimous. Okay. Thank you. Public participation. No one has signed up to address the council. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to the council at this time? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. Next item on the agenda, resignations and appointments. First, I have a resignation of Mr. Chris Gavalides from the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate. Under appointments, we have several appointments and reappointments. First reappointment is Ms. Sherry Brown, Board of Estimate and Taxation. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Kites, okay.
Ladies first.
Ms. Young.
Motion to move Ms. Brown.
The item's been moved. Would you like to comment?
Yes. We're very pleased to have Ms. Sherry Brown on the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Sherry and her family have had a long political history in the city of Norwalk, and we're happy to see that she is still around and still willing to be engaged, because that's what civic engagement is all about, and responsibility. So we welcome Sherry, and I know she will do a fantastic job.
Mr. Kites?
Yes, I know you've wanted to get involved, Sherry, and I'm really glad that you were willing to take on this responsibility, and we're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Further discussion? I too am very pleased because Sherry serves on the Norwalk Housing Authority. She has proven to be a person who wants to do the best she can to make Norwalk a better place and work for all people. And I think on the Board of Estimate and Taxation, she'll be a good asset and help us keep our spending within limits. So seeing no further comments, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. In a moment, we'll have you come down and we'll administer the oath of office. We have a couple of other appointments. Next, Ed Abrams on the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make the motion
Ms.
for
Smith.
Ed Abrams and speak to him if I can. Mr. Abrams' resume is very impressive, including 19 years with IBM in various positions, most recently as Vice President of Marketing for the software group where he managed a budget of $250 million and was accountable for 47% of the profits. More recently, accountable for a $2.5 billion in annual pipeline creation of all sales channels and routes for Samsung. Very big resume. He is currently Vice President of Corporate Marketing for Cognizant Technology Solutions, where he built the first ever integrated marketing program framework for brand and business strategies, and is responsible for building the brand globally. I mean, I can't imagine a better fit for the BET. But additionally, I know Ed personally because he was the former president of Marching Bears, Inc. for Norwalk High School. He was responsible there for setting the yearly budget, overseeing the band committees, presiding over meetings, often attended Board of Ed meetings, and his leadership helped the band run very smoothly and efficiently. I know him to be professional, fair, driven, a dynamic leader who's not afraid to make big decisions, and really an all-around modern gentleman. So I just can't imagine a better fit for our BET, so I hope he has your support.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Ed. I don't see him here, so...
Yeah, he's unable to be here.
Okay. Next, a motion, Chris Gavrilides. He just resigned as an alternate from the Zoning Board of Appeals, so now we're moving him. We need a motion to move him as a regular member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hoovelman.
I'd like to move Chris Gavrilides for the Zoning Board of Appeals as a regular judge. It was my pleasure to serve with Chris as an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He's a very hard worker. He's a very thoughtful individual. He listens well and he does the research that is involved in the decision-making process. Chris is a lifelong resident of Norwalk. He brings historical knowledge to the table, and which makes him an asset to any commission. As a regular member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, he'll continue to make strong and positive contributions. Therefore, I'd like to nominate him for a regular position to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next, under appointments, Joshua M. Goldstein, Zoning Commission alternate. Do I have a motion? Mr. Hostin.
Yes, I'd like to move Josh Goldstein to the Zoning Commission as an alternate. I've gotten to know Josh very well in the last few months. He's an attorney with extensive civic and public service in his background. I know him to be very detail-oriented, and I think he'll be a great asset to the Zoning Commission.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. I know Mr. Goldstein is here. Now, under appointments, I would ask perhaps that someone have a motion to go off the agenda to add 2 people to the Conservation Commission. The reason being that we have 2 vacancies and there are some important issues coming up. We just found out today that we need to put people on the Conservation Commission. Effective January 2nd. So this appointment will be January 2nd. They have some important public hearings coming up. So I need a motion first to go off the agenda to add 2 people. Ms. Smith makes that motion. So I am going to put forward for your consideration 2 people, Stephen Cloke, or Clock, K-L-O-C-K-E. I believe we passed out the resumes. And Matt Caputo, both of whom are well known to the city. And so I would ask that we move them together. So if I can have a motion to move those 2 people.
I move that we move them together, Mayor.
Ms. Shanahan, any further discussion?
Their reappointment.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now we move down to the reappointments. We have several. We have 3 on the Board of Health. I think we can move them all together. We have the people that are currently serving, Vincent Amorucio, Ken Laline, and Terry Tavella Quell. 2 of whom are here. Can I have a motion?
Mr.
Ms.
Mayor,
Young, yes?
I'd like to move those.
Okay. Well, Mr. Burnett will move and then we'll comment.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to move Vincent, Ken, and Terry. All 3 are healthcare professionals extraordinaires. I've served with Terry and Ken on the Board of Health, and not only are they well aware of the current trends and direction in healthcare, but they provide valuable insight in terms of how we as a city should be positioned for healthcare and providing needed services to the community. Their awareness is just unbelievable in terms of where the direction is headed as we look at providing the needed services to make sure that both our individuals as well as families have the best possible public health and opportunities that we can offer as a city. So I proudly bring their names forward.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Ms. Young.
So just want to further support these three reappointments, and in particular Ken and Terry. Ken, we go back to the Norwalk Community Health Center days, and Terry, from when you worked in the Board of Education. And not only are you all very committed to what you do on a local level, but on a national level. And you're very professional in that, and your commitment to the city of Norwalk is to be commended. So I think it's a great reappointment, and happy that you're willing and able to do this again for the city of Norwalk.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the three appointments, the reappointments? Opposed? Abstentions? Carries unanimously. Congratulations. Next, we have reappointment of Mr. Artie Kasimis to the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Do I have a motion?
Mayor?
Mr. Kites.
One of the benefits of reappointment is that person has a track record and a history, and Mr. Kasimis, I've heard nothing but good things that you've done on the BET, and it's important to have experience, but it's important to have the ability to work with other people as well, and you possess both those traits. So I'm very pleased to see that you're willing to put your hat in the ring again, and we're lucky to have you as well.
Thank you. Further discussion?
All I can say is ditto to that, right?
And I'll say double ditto.
Yeah, right.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Congratulations. Next, we have a reappointment of Mr. Charles Pirro to the Pension Board. Do I have a motion? Mr. Keegan.
Thank you, Mayor. I move Mr. Charles Pirro to our pension board. Mr. Pirro brings an impressive educational background, including Yale University, Cornell School of Law, and St. Mary's High School. Stellar professional background as a partner at Pirro and Church, and I believe the city of Norwalk is fortunate to have Mr. Pirro offer his expertise and service on our pension board.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. And last but not least, reappointment of Keith A. Lyon to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Do I have a motion? Mr. Hooverman.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move Keith Lyon to the reappointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm honored to nominate him. I've served with Keith also on the ZBA. He's had a very varied life, living from England all the way to Chicago to settling here in Norwalk. And he brings a lot of experience through his financial work, and he's a very hard worker and a very reasoned and sensible individual, and I think he makes a good addition to the Board of Appeals.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to all, we believe. And if the appointees and reappointees would step down to the front, we will administer your oath of office. Hi, Sherry. Nice to see you again. We'll do the two of them first.
Okay. Well, one's a reappoint and one's an appointment.
Right.
So, you, Sherry Brown, and Artie Kasimis, reappoint, appoint. to the Board of Estimate and Taxation of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear, or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God, or upon the pains and penalties of perjury.
Both of these leave one with us.
All right, and they fill in the date as well. Gosh. Do you have anyone else for zoning? No.
Congratulations. You should stick around to the end. Don't leave after this.
Oh, here we are. Okay. Joshua. You, Joshua M. Goldstein, having been appointed as an alternate member of the Zoning Commission of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God, or upon the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do. Congratulations.
You're
You're next. You're up.
Where's your pen?
I don't have my pen.
I got one.
The city can't afford to give me one.
Okay, did we date it? Cool. All right.
Did you sign both? There's two of them.
Yeah, these two.
And you sign both and keep one.
Does have my name on it.
That's an attorney's signature if I ever saw one.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Ken and Terry.
Okay, here we go. Thanks for coming. All right, these are both reappointments. When I say you say your name. You, having been reappointed as a member of the Board of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God, upon the pains and penalties of perjury. Thank you. Thanks for serving. Both, and you can date them today. Yep. It is.
We already had the executive session. We already had the executive session. We did that first. Okay.
I was in the planning commission.
How'd that go?
Thank you for serving my county.
Which issue?
Congratulations.
Okay, so now the next item on the agenda is mayor's remarks. I have a few. One, for those of you who were able to make it, and those of you who weren't, you know, there has been a state offer to allow us to build a new Norwalk High School with an 80% reimbursement as opposed to a 32% reimbursement. Those items will be now start moving forward. We'll have to go through the planning commission. We'll have to go through the planning committee and through the common council. So I just want to make you aware of that, and if you have any questions or or need further information, we are going to be looking at a public hearing on Monday night, this coming, whatever night Monday is, what date it is. So if you're able to attend, we'll kind of brief you on all the details and answer any questions that you may have. Tonight, Wreaths Across America, for those of you who are familiar with it, stopped at St. Anne's Club. This is the 5th year in a row that they've done this. This is a nationwide and now a worldwide global effort to lay wreaths on the graves of veterans. And I believe we had 12 18-wheeler tractor trailers filled with wreaths stopping in Norwalk today. I'd like to thank the St. Anne's Club. I'm a member of St. Anne's Club. I'm very proud that we do this. We invite them to stop on their way. We feed them a full meal of pasta and chicken and sausage and pepper and let them relax halfway through. Now they're going to be driving into New Jersey later on tonight. They're probably already on their way, and they'll be stopping and staying overnight. But this is an effort. I believe they're going to be laying 2 million wreaths this year on the graves of veterans across the country and across the globe. So I want to thank Wreaths Across America. I want to say thanks St. Anne's Club for doing this as well. It's quite an event, and when you see the caravan of the trucks being escorted by police from the state of Maine, the Maine State Police, the Connecticut State Police, Norwalk Police, being escorted is quite a sight. So, International Human Rights Day is Thursday, 12/12 at 6:30 p.m. in the community room. This year's topic is criminal justice reform, and the Human Relations Commission sponsors this event each year, so if anybody is able to attend, it's always an interesting night and very informative, and the presentations are usually very riveting. Brian McMahon High School Music Department presents their annual Poinsettia concert at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, 12/17. It's, again, when you see the talent of our young high school students, you'd be amazed. Musically, they're dancing, acting, singing, instruments, really quite impressive. Unfortunately, it's only one night, which is 12/17. That's the night of the Board of Education meeting. But those of you who can attend, if you'll reach out to the music department at Brian McMahon High School, they'll arrange for you to have some good seats. The Norwalk High School annual candlelight production runs December 16th, 17th, and 18th at 7 p.m. There's 3 different nights. Again, it's a production that once you sit through it, you're going to be absolutely amazed. It's Broadway quality, the talent of our young people. So if you have an opportunity to go, show them your support, show them you appreciate the effort that they put into this. They put a lot of time and energy into this. And I believe at Norwalk High School, there's approximately 500 students that are involved in the production, whether backstage, in the orchestra, on stage, in the chorus. It's just absolutely amazing. On November 19th, Rabbi Hecht.
December.
Oh, what do you think I said, November? December 19th, at City Hall, Rabbi Hecht will be lighting the menorah in celebration of Hanukkah. The last year was the first year that we did this. And it was proper and fitting, and it's quite a thing that Rabbi Hecht asked if we could do it, and we thought it would be a great idea. So if you can come out on December 19th, you already missed November 19th, so you can come out on December 19th. We're also happy to announce that the Mayor's Ball this year is going to be held on January 31st. At the Serafina and the Italian Center in Norwalk. You know that for those of you who have attended in the past, they do a remarkable job. It's always a great event, non-political, no speeches, just a good time of meeting people and having a great time for a good cause. This year's recipients are the Star Foundation up on Wolf Pit Avenue that provide opportunities for emotionally challenged and people with learning disabilities to enter mainstream, to get applications for employment, to live on their own in their own apartments and so forth. And it's really a great organization. And the second recipient will be the Norwalk YMCA. As you know, they're planning on leasing the building at 98 South Main Street and making it a community center for people to have recreation, to come and be able to obtain the services that they may need. So that's a good thing. Now, I imagine, I believe I'm relatively sure, that the next council meeting will probably not happen. I'd say there's better than a 50% chance since it's scheduled for Christmas Eve. I would imagine that we probably will not have the council meeting. But I do want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and a very happy and healthy 2020. Having said that, Ms. Smith,
Thank
floor
you,
is
Mayor.
yours.
And yes, I can confirm that on December 24th, Christmas Eve, and the second night of Hanukkah, we have canceled the meeting. So thank you for that. Secondly, unless there's any objection, I'd like to move the executive session to the end after the consent calendar. And for the consent calendar, Mr. Dumas will read tonight.
All right, everyone agree with that. The consent calendar starts at B. 6A, Corporation Council. Authorize the Mayor Harry W. Reeling to sign the settlement agreement and release the accept payment by Turco Golf, Inc. in the amount of $11,000 and by Fusco and O'Neill, Inc. in the amount of $23,520, which constitutes a refund of the city's cost of retrained Total Fence LLC. 7A1. Authorize the Mayor Harry W. Reeling to execute an agreement between the City of Norwalk and Southport Associations, PC, the professional engineering services for the design of the historic city light system on Wall Street for a sum not to exceed $16,800. Account as noted. A2. Authorize the Mayor Harry W. Reeling to execute a lease agreement, file number 102-119-03A, with the State Connecticut Department of Transportation at no monthly cost for the purpose of constructing a portion of State Project 102-350 Norwalk River Valley Trail, Phase 2. A3, authorize the Mayor Harry Reeling to execute an agreement with VHB Inc. for the design of ADAPT signals on West Avenue for the amount not to exceed $30,000. Account number as noted. A4A, authorize the Mayor Harry W. Reeling to enter into an agreement with National Water Main Cleaning Company for cleaning existing drain systems at various locations, Project DRG 2019-1, for an amount not to exceed $468,800. All account numbers as noted. A4B, authorize the Chief of Operation and Public Works to execute orders and contract with National Water Main Cleaning Company for cleaning existing drain systems at various locations, Project DRG 2019-1, for a sum not to exceed $46,880. Account names. Six A. Am I right? Okay. B. Use and Building Committee. 1A, authorize the Mayor Harry Reeling to execute a contract with Alden Bailey Restoration Company for the Mill Hill Townhouse mortar repair repointing project for the total not to exceed $138,400. $138,410. Account is noted. Authorize the Norwalk Historical Commission to issue change orders and contract for the total not to exceed $14,000. B2, authorize the Mayor Harry Reeling to execute a agreement with Newfield Construction, Inc. as the construction manager for the Jefferson Elementary School renovation as new project. Term of the agreement shall include the following: pre-construction phase services, including reimbursements allowance for $86,550. MC fees percent of total trade bid at 1.20%. CM contingency percent total trade bids at 1.50%. Following the trade contractor's bidding process, the guaranteed minimum price will be submitted to the Common Council to approve, account as noted. 3, authorize the purchasing agent to issue purchase order to SHI International Corp. For the supply of 675 Arubas AP-315 access points and license for Norwalk Public Schools for a total not to exceed $55,000. Account number as noted. B4, authorize the purchasing agent to issue purchase order to ePlus Technology, Inc. for the supply of 13 Cisco Catalyst 385048.PT and models of Norwalk Public Schools for a total not to exceed $31,000. Account as noted. B5, authorize the purchasing agent to issue purchase order to SHI International Corp. For the supply of the Aruba 7220 controller and license for the Norwalk Public School for a total not to exceed $12,500. Account as noted. B6, authorize the purchasing agent to issue purchase order to Seneki LLC for the supply and installation of Pulse Policy Secure NAC solution for Norwalk Public Schools for a total not to exceed $105,000. Account as noted. 7A, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a contract with Epifanio Builders for the installation of a picnic shelter at Ely Park for the total not to exceed $53,750. Account is noted. 7B, authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders and contract for a total not to exceed $5,375. 8A, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Retech LLC for the renovation of the old Recreation and Parks and Human Relations Office for new Planning and Zoning Office for a total not to exceed $86,000. Account is noted. 8B, authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders and contract for a total not to exceed $8,600. 9A, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Shoreline Restoration LLC for the Ben Franklin Center Roof Replacement Project, Phase 2, for a total not to exceed $206,052. Funds are available from an account as noted. Authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders and the contract for total not to exceed $20,605. 10, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to accept donations for 24 James Street to the City of Norwalk by the property owner. C, Health and Public Safety Committee. C1A, authorize the Mayor Harry W. Rowan to execute all documents necessary to apply for the accept grant funds from the State of Connecticut for the Preventive Health and Human Service Block Grant in the amount of $66,672 for the period of October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020. 2. 1B, authorize Mayor Harry W. Rilling to execute any and all agreement documents and instruments or amendments as may be necessary for emplacement to prevent Health and Human Services Block Grant for the period of October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Dumas. Well done. Unless there are any concerns or comments, I'll call for a vote on the consent calendar. All in favor? Unanimous? Mayor?
Thank you, Ms. Smith. So now we go to item 7A5, Mr. Sirenides, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 7A5, authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to Gengras Ford LLC for the purchase of two 2020 Ford plug-in hybrid electric cars for a sum not to exceed $60,191.72. I'd like to move the item 5 and briefly speak on it.
Mr. Sirenides, you have the floor.
Essentially, this is a pilot program with the city further working on going green. The city has made a commitment on reducing our carbon footprint, and this is another example of that commitment, starting with 2 vehicles and plans to add more in the future. Mr. Carr is here tonight to speak on it and answer any questions that anybody may have.
Any further comments before we turn it over to Mr. Kites?
Really quick. I think it's really great when a plan comes together. I think a lot of people don't know, especially in the public, that this process started a year ago when you requested this money in the capital budget, and now here it is where we're up to approve this item. And Mr. Carr, I especially thank you for not just thinking about this a long time ago, but staying on it, going through the RFP process and bringing it to us today. I know.
Thank you, Councilman.
You're very welcome. I know we've been talking about this for a while, and I think the fact that it's a pilot program, I really think we're, Norwalk's commitment to reducing our carbon footprint is started in the past and it continues. So, thank you.
You're welcome. And just to clarify, too, these cars, they'll be stored at the Operations Center, and they'll be used by WPCA and the Operations Waste Program Manager. They are not replacement vehicles, but they'll be addition to the fleet, since currently WPCA does not have a vehicle to commute. And I just want to clarify too, and this is important because hybrids and plug-in hybrids, a lot of technical terms, but just to water it down, think of a hybrid vehicle as a regular gas combustion engine with an extra electrical motor. A plug-in is similar, but think of that more like an electric vehicle with a gas engine as a backup. So with a hybrid, it has a small electric motor, does not require charging. The charge comes from either braking or comes from the heat in the engine. So that's how the energy is stored when you have just a traditional hybrid. The plug-in hybrid is kind of a cross between an electric car and a hybrid vehicle. It can run an all-electric, specifically the 2020 Ford Fusion can commute distances up to 26 miles on pure electric. We assumed for purposes of analysis about 10 miles a day for each vehicle. So theoretically, one could come in, charge their vehicle, drive up to 26 miles, charge it the next day, and never really have to go to the gas component of the plug-in electric hybrid, which at that point really is functioning as an electric vehicle. And also just to add to that, these cars can be charged with a 120-volt household outlet. It takes about 7 hours to charge, or a 240-volt charging station, which is more commercialized. And this specific model could be charged in about 2.5 hours. It's a little bit of a culture change, so I imagine what's going to happen in the beginning is we're going to forget to charge it, it's going to go to hybrid, and then that'll just be a little bit more of a redundancy and a growth exercise. But Just to add a couple other things too. The annual fuel cost for the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle is about $290, but surprisingly, that's about $10 in gas, $208 in electric. So they both use fuel, but the difference is with the plug-in electric hybrid, you're using electricity and gasoline. But again, a conventional hybrid and the plug-in hybrid, they both do the same thing. They reduce petroleum use. That's straight across the board. They do reduce greenhouse emissions, and they are a key sustainability initiative. This is the first of two, so that's a pilot. And again, they were selected too because WPCA and the Solid Waste Program Manager typically drive short distances. So in theory, you keep the car charged, you have an electric vehicle.
Mr. Livingston.
Yeah, I just want to add on to Mr. Keide's comments and thank Mr. Carr for pushing this ahead. I know it's been a lot of work. I know you've been talking about the whole fleet management, and I think this is a great first step, as you say, and Mr. Keide says, it really shows our focus on sustainability for the city as a whole, and I really commend you. I think it's a wonderful thing you're doing.
Thank you, Councilman. And just to add to, we have 10 hybrid vehicles currently undergoing a special appropriation process. It was previously approved by the BET, I think 2 weeks ago. Next will be, I believe, Plan Commission and Finance Committee and then Common Council. So those 10 hybrid vehicles will replace 10 of the 16 pool cars, the 2008 Ford Tauruses that are currently housed at City Hall and the health departments. And just to give you miles per gallon too, our 2008 Ford Tauruses, driving about 5,000 miles a year, they average 13.3 miles per gallon. The Ford 2020 Fusion Hybrid that we're trying to procure 10, that has about 43 miles per gallon. Then the plug-in hybrid, I mean, theoretically, you could almost have unlimited, never touch the gasoline, but for argument's sake, you could say about 60 miles per gallon if you converted the electricity to a gasoline source, which they actually do have a conversion for. We don't need to get into that tonight, unless you really want to hear.
Any further questions, comments? Mr. Hostin?
Yeah, I think any move towards greater sustainability is great. My understanding is that these cars are additive, as you said, but that there's going to be a new system to prevent cars from being left dormant and unused for long periods of time. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, as part of the special appropriation process, $233,000, is for the 10 hybrid vehicles. The other $41,000 is for Asset Works software, which is a key valet system. So simplified form, city staff goes to the computer, web access, you request a reservation, you get a PIN code to go downstairs to a big box that most likely will be in the first floor next to the security guard, although location's TBD. Your PIN code opens the box, and you could only take the key number that's part of your reservation. So if it's car 4, you can only take that out. You drive wherever you want to go, you bring it back, you close out the reservation, and what that does, and the big reason that the 2008 Ford Tauruses, aside from age, are experiencing the effects of deterioration is that there's a very unbalanced infrequent use. So the pool car system, the key valet software, will create constant turnover, and you could set it to using your higher mileage cars first. So what's happening is in different departments, some cars are sitting there longer than others. So you're getting brake line rot, you're getting debris inside the engines, oil becomes like tar, and that's all not good thing. Obviously, unfavorable conditions for the car. So aside from having just to replace the vehicles on age alone and having to replace all 16 brake lines this year, 4 were mandatory, we did the other 12 as preventative at about $1,000 each time, and that's basically the salvage value of the car. So aside, the fleet had to be replaced, and I think this is the perfect time to go with hybrids. I've used them in White Plains. I mean, they do save money. I know people could argue, well, now it's more cost. A battery, what if that dies? I mean, they offer 8 to 10 year warranties, and battery replacement used to be $10,000 when hybrids first came out. They're down to now between $2,000 and $4,000. So you figure another 10 years you should be replacing your fleet. And I've been working with the superintendent of operations to develop a rolling stock program. So you're not replacing all vehicles at the same time. There's constant turnover of the assets. It was very successful in White Plains. But they do have a rolling stock program here. It's just a little bit of a variation from that. But
Mr. Hooverman.
Just a quick comment. Being new to the Common Council, I'm excited by this. I want to say thank you very much to the work that you've done, and thank you to the members of the council who have moved this forward through this time. I think that moving towards this type of sustainability and putting our community in the front of this is important, and I just want to say thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Really quick, I'm sorry, Mayor. Sorry, I apologize. Just while we're here all talking about it, have you, in the past, the city secured through the various grants to organizations, charging stations? Have you been made aware of any of these grants?
Yes, we're actually working with TMP. They believe that in the next few weeks or months, I can't speak to the exact schedule, but I know they're purchasing several charging stations. But in an effort to get the plugins streamlined, we're going to have we're not going to have a charging station at the operations center. We're going to just modify the electrical panel. I've been speaking to Alan Lowe about that. He was here. We're going to modify the electrical panel, and just basically it'll function as a household plug. But yes, we have looked into it, and I also want to inquire more too about the federal rebates that are offered with the hybrid and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. So we may be able to get some money back. I don't know if there's an exemption for municipality, but we'll find out.
Thanks, Mr. Carr.
Very welcome.
Thank you. Yes, the current fleet for the city is tired, old, and the cost of repair is getting more and more. So it's the right time to do this, and this is something that we've been talking about now for probably more than a year or two, trying to make sure that we get these moved forward. But Anthony, since you've come on board, you were able to accelerate this and get it done. So I truly appreciate it, and it's the right thing to do. And this will be, as Mr. Huberman put it, we're in the lead when we talk about plastic bags and straws and styrofoam and now hybrid vehicles. We're showing other cities in the state how it's done. So thank you.
Very welcome.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Carried unanimously.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe now I need a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Livingston, all in favor? We're in executive session at 8:17. We need to take a break. We can take a break while the people who are not going to be sitting in through executive session are clearing out. Okay, Barbara, you're going to make the motion?
I'll make it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back. Are we all set? We're back in public session at 8:53. During executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to make a motion under 5A1 in the matter of Fire Tree versus City of Norwalk to vote to approve a settlement as discussed in executive session.
Thank you for the motion. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, Nick, you're fast. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned at 8:55. Thank you.
No,
There you go, huh?